What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I just finished cleaning up the huge mess that I had from the last project. If you missed that video, I'll put a link down in the description so you can go check that out right after this one. So to go over what I did, I converted my 96 windows and trim to the 97 and newer windows and trim, and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. It gave me more visibility out of the front windows. I got rid of all of the wiring in the doors, so no more electric doors. And it also just cleaned up the overall aesthetic of the Jeep, and I really like the style of the 97 and newer windows. So to continue on that theme, I'm going to be restoring my clapped out window door trim. Every XJ on the planet has this problem, and this is how I'm gonna do it. So the way I am going to go about this project is I am going to fully remove the trim. So I've seen a lot of videos here on YouTube where people will tape off the body and try and paint the black trim while it's still on the Jeep. That is going to be really tough just because, as you can see, like it's like flaking off. So in order to get a nice smooth finish and to also match this color while it's still being on the Jeep is going to be really difficult. So what I'm planning on doing is I am going to fully remove all of the trim and strip it down with paint stripper, sand it, prime it, and paint it, just so everything looks nice and uniform when it's reinstalled back on the Jeep. So removing the trim on your Jeep XJ door can be pretty difficult, especially if that trim has never been removed before. So the trim tool that I have found that works the best is this style trim tool. So this is just out of a cheap Harbor Freight trim tool kit. And I use this trim tool to safely remove the trim without damaging the trim or scratching the door. So the way that I do this is I start with the bottom piece here. So I put my trim tool underneath it and I gently tap up on it to get it moving. And then once it's coming up, you can grab the trim and slowly remove it. Then I move on to this back piece here. Same idea, put the tool there, tap on it gently, get it separated, and then finish it off by just pulling on it gently. Once that piece is off, move on to the top piece. Same idea again, start here in the back, gently tap down on it, and work your way towards the front as you go. So once you get this down just a little bit, you can grab the piece and gently pull down on it and towards the back, and it will come off. You might need to wiggle it a little bit as you go, and then there you go, the trim piece is off. So I am going to remove all of the trim from the Jeep, and then we will get the Jeep out of the garage so we can move on to prepping these for paint. So I am 100% self-taught when it comes to working on cars and working on my XJ. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever done this window trim restoration on your own. Let me know what techniques and processes you used in order to get your trim to look the best that it can. Also, don't forget to like this video so this video can spread to a wider audience here on YouTube. And if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications so you can be notified every time one of my videos drops. All right, so I got everything set up to start applying some paint stripper. So this is the paint stripper that I picked up. I'm not sure how well the paint stripper is going to work. The paint on these trim pieces kind of have like a plastic coating behind the paint. So I'm not sure how well this will work, but we're gonna try it. And then I also picked up some paint. So I got my weld through primer that I use on everything, as well as some roll bar and chassis paint in matte. I really like the way this paint looks, so definitely gonna be using that. Got some brake clean for cleanup, and then some sandpaper, a brush for the paint stripper. So let's get this paint stripper on here and see how well it works. So I have never used paint stripper before, so what I did is I applied what I thought was a generous amount, and I waited for 30 minutes before I tried to remove the paint. And I found out very quickly that the paint wasn't going to be coming off very easily and that I needed to add more paint stripper. So what I did is I applied yet another generous amount of paint stripper and waited another 30 minutes. And as you'll see here, that's what did it. This is definitely a very messy job when it comes to getting all this paint off with the paint stripper. So just make sure that you have several pairs of disposable gloves that you can use in order to swap between, because that paint stripper will destroy the gloves during this process. That took way longer than I thought it was going to get all of the paint off these pieces of trim. I ended up needing to use a wire wheel to really get the edges because the paint stripper didn't pull off all the paint on the underside. And then I followed up with some sandpaper to prep it for the paint. Okay, so there's only one thing left to do before putting these trim pieces back on the Jeep. Let's lay down some paint. Look how awesome these trim pieces turned out. The paint laid down perfect. I didn't have any runs or any issues with that. I ended up on accident painting all of these trim pieces satin. The paint that I was using, I thought it was matte, but it wasn't. So these are a little more glossy than I thought they were going to be, but that's okay. I think I can live with that. I don't want to waste any more time here. Let's get these installed back on the Jeep. All right, so I got all of the refurbished trim pieces put back on the XJ, and these things look amazing. I am so glad that I finally got around to refurbishing these trim pieces and making them all one uniform color. It's so nice not seeing the flaking paint everywhere, and it just kind of cleaned up the doors and the look of the XJ. So I did run into a little issue, and it is with these back trim pieces here on the doors. So same with the ones in the rear. The front doors are actually a little bit longer. So if you install the wrong trim piece here, you'll know because there will be a gap. You'll have a little gap here and you'll see the color of the door peeking through. So just make sure you set aside the longer pieces for the front doors and then the rest of them go on the back doors. So other than that, everything reinstalled exactly how it came apart. I didn't have any other issues. And to be honest, I couldn't be happier with this final outcome. All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you for coming by once again and checking out what I have going on. Let me know what you thought about the overall video quality in this one. I did switch over to using a GoPro for some of my footage. I'm also using a light to help kind of illuminate the area a little bit better. Let me know what you think about the video quality. I'm curious. I'm trying different things, kind of refining my process as far as recording these videos. Also, in the next video, we are finally getting started back on the Comanche project, so you're not going to want to miss the next videos. I have tons of ambitious goals, and I'm excited to really get cranking out on that stuff. Anyways, get out there in your garages, work on your projects, get out there on the trails, and don't forget to stay safe out there. I'll catch you next time.